Well, hi there, food friends.
Well, hi there, food friends.
I'm whispering because I don't want to disturb this great calligraphy.
And welcome to Cavalcade of Food. Perhaps I should say, bonjour, mon ami.
We're going to take you to Paris, France, or some
Coq
parts
Au
of
Vin, chicken and wine.
Some parts of Europe. Coq Au Vin.
Yep.
And we have some French music to play. And this is something we've talked about for a long time, but have not made for the Cavalcade audience
it is
yet.
a long favorite dish here, and decided, you know what, today we're going to make it, and so why not? And we've got we're going to use some chicken thighs here, Ralph. I've got these are bone-in, skin-on.
Okay, so I'm Ralph behind the camera, and he's Kevin. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Did I not say that?
Maybe not.
Yes, well, welcome to Cavalcade of Food, and we are going to get started here. I guess I was so excited, Ralph, about
one international popular dish.
And of course, really, a lot of us know this dish or came to know this dish from the wonderful Julia Child, who covered it in a couple of her cookbooks, The French Chef, and of course, Mastering the Art of French Cooking.
Kissing? Oh, cooking.
French cooking. And anyways, we're going to put the bacon in the pot, and I've got 2 tablespoons of butter. All right? So we're adding the bacon to the butter. You with me?
I am.
So, by the way, take a look at the bacon. See how it's cut? This is a lardon, which is a strip. It's like a julienne of bacon.
Oh, so that refers to the cut, not the fact that it has more fat on it or anything?
It probably can't, because it's got you can't spell lardon without lard.
That's true, yeah.
So I'm sure
there's a connection.
Someone who has more knowledge of the French language than us maybe can tell us. But yes, anything, you can cut things into lardons, not necessarily have to be bacon. But what we're going to do is we're going to brown this bacon. We're just going to get it brown. We don't need to crisp it. But oh my gosh, to smell bacon and butter cooking together,
the height of decadence.
That right in itself is pretty darn heavenly, I will say. But we're going to get this bacon brown. And what we're creating some fat in the pan between the butter, and as the bacon becomes rendered, as the fat from the bacon melts, it's going to stay in the pan, and that is what we're going to brown our chicken with. But what you want to do is you want to take a 1/4 pound. The recipe is below, okay? So click on below the video, you'll find the recipe. You want a 1/4 pound of bacon, and I sliced the strips of bacon, which are about 1 inch wide. I sliced them into 1/4 inch strips, our lardons. And we just want to put a nice brown on the bacon, and then we will take it out and start getting our chicken in. So Ralph, I've got the bacon just browned, okay? You don't want to
crisp it up.
You don't want it crisp. Yeah, really, you don't want it well done, but you want it lightly browned.
Just enough to get
some of that fat rendered out. And I don't know if you can get a shot in the actual pot here. You'll see that we have now a nice browning on the bottom, and then we've got a good amount of fat in there. I'm going to put the bacon here on the side for now, on a plate lined with paper towel.
It's going to come back into play, though, right?
Yes, it will. Absolutely.
Good. Phew.
So now we're going to take our chicken thighs, and I'm going to put them skin side down, and we're going to brown these. Now, these thighs I trimmed all the excess skin off the thighs, okay? They had a lot of extra skin on them, which I didn't want, and I'm putting them skin side down in the pot here. And we're going to just
brown them.
So let me get those going. Let me put this aside and wash my hands real quick. And we're also going to take this opportunity to season the chicken. with a little S&P.
Is this where the cocoa comes into the Coq Au Vin? No cocoa, right? No cocoa.
No cocoa in this recipe. So let's give our chicken a little salt and pepper.
A little S&P love.
Yeah. And while it's browning, and we're going to put a nice crisp on it.
So there's no cocoa in there, but there is some wine.
Well, the Coq, C-O-Q, is the chicken.
Which actually comes from rooster.
Right.
Which in the old days, it was a tougher, they needed to braise it for a long time.
And needed, you're right, a braising, a longer cooking time.
But nowadays...
I don't even know where I would buy a rooster. I don't see it in the supermarket.
We don't need to do that because we can do...
They have lots of chicken available. Yeah. And we like the thighs because they're
juicier.
They're juicier, they're moister, they have more of a chicken flavor. But you could use any cut of chicken that you want. So if you prefer white. Yeah, you could use chicken breast. But it is important to use the chicken with the bone still in and the skin on, because that's going to give us some flavor that you wouldn't get with something boneless. So Ralph, look at our nice chicken here. See how beautifully browned it got?
Oh, yes.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat all the way down to low simmer. I'm going to, remember our bacon?
I couldn't forget it for the world.
The bacon is going to go back in. All right? Now, we've got it on, I've turned the heat down to low. I'm going to cover the pot. We're going to let it
Looks like you're just about to say magic words.
We're going to let it simmer for 10 minutes. Halfway through, at 5 minutes, I'm going to come in and I'm going to turn the chicken over.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're just going to let it do its thing here for 10 minutes, and then we'll be back.
Abracadabra, la shot noir.
We had this covered and simmering away here for 10 minutes. Okay? So.
Boy, does that smell good.
Doesn't it? I mean, just right now it smells great. Now, I've got a 1/4 cup here of cognac.
Okay, but what about cooking the food first?
It is for the food, actually.
Okay.
This is cognac for the chicken. And I'm going to put that in there. And we're going to let the cognac... Come on. There it goes. I don't know if you can see it, but it's flaming.
Maybe, oh yeah, I can see it.
Can you see the flames?
It's a little hard to pick up, but I'm seeing it.
Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to let that flame off a little bit. I'm going to... Where's my pot holder? We're going to shake the pan. You want the flaming will, you can see it. It's kind of hard with the bright lights, but it's flaming away. We're gonna,
there you can really
see it. Okay? So we're gonna let that till the flames go out and it's all cooked off. Trying to get that alcohol off there. Okay.
Away from the face.
Away from the face. Now, we're going to add, I've got 3 cups of Burgundy wine, okay?
Is that for the food?
So, no, this one's for the cook. You've heard people say it a million times. Don't cook with wine you wouldn't drink, right?
Is there any wine you wouldn't drink? Just
well,
kidding.
there is some, not much, but okay, we're not that fussy.
They're just saying don't use Boone's Farm.
Right. So, we're going to add our red wine, 3 cups, to the pot. Then I've got 2 cups of chicken broth here, chicken stock. I don't know if I'll need it all. We'll see. We want to just cover the chicken. Oh, took it all. Okay. So, 3 cups of Burgundy, 2 cups of stock. Then I'm bringing the heat up because I want to have this come up to a simmer. I'm going to also add in, Ralph,
a few spices.
We've got a tablespoon here of tomato paste. Okay? We're going to add that in. I got 2 bay leaves. I've got 2 cloves of smashed garlic. Okay, so we just diced up that garlic real fine and put a little sprinkling of kosher salt and ground it down with the knife. And then I've got a half teaspoon of thyme.
Okay.
And we're going to put all that in. We're going to give it a little stir, get that all mixed in. I'm going to have this come up here to a simmer, and then I'm going to cover it, and it's going to cook for 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay? And while this is cooking, we're going to get started on our mushrooms and onions.
Ooh,
so I've got a couple tablespoons of melted butter here, Ralph. Our chicken is simmering away, okay, doing its thing. While it does that, I've got about 2 dozen little pearl onions here. Now, I buy the kind that are frozen. They're already peeled. If you want to use fresh pearl onions and blanch them and peel them and all that stuff, I say knock yourself out and do it.
Wasn't that a country singer? Oh, that was Minnie Pearl.
Minnie Pearl. So what we're going to do is we're going to just saute the pearl onions, and I've got mushrooms here, and I think this was an 8-ounce package, actually.
Did you say those pearl onions were frozen?
They were frozen. You can buy them in the freezer section.
But I mean, is it preferable that they're frozen, or does it matter?
You know, to me, they're just more convenient because you don't have to peel them.
I guess what I'm asking is, can they be thawed out before you start sauteing them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I put them in frozen because they thaw out pretty quickly.
Pretty quick,
in the
yeah.
heat, actually.
And there's so much water in them.
I'm going to break these mushrooms up. These were big mushrooms.
Yeah, they were. Leave some big because we like them.
Yeah, we love mushrooms. So you know what? We're going to get this nice and sauteed down, and that is going to end up in with our chicken, our Coq Au Vin. But you know what? We're going to also season as we go. Everything needs to be seasoned. So a little salt.
So pearl.
And a little crushed black pepper.
So sauteing mushrooms, pearl onions. Minnie Pearl was a country singer, and Pearl Barley was a soup.
That's right.
I mean, Pearl Bailey.
Yeah, Pearl Bailey was a singer and a comedian.
Yeah.
Pearl Barley, it goes in soup.
Okay.
We'll straighten it all out somehow and come on back. But right now we're cooking the shrooms and the onion. Okay.
Ooh, look how deep, dark, ruby red that is.
Isn't that beautiful? We're going to take the chicken out, and what we want to do, Ralph, I'm going to take the bay leaves out too. They've done their thing. And we're going to take the chicken thighs out, and we are going to turn this up, because what we want to do is we want to reduce this sauce a little bit.
I have a crazy question.
Yeah, sure.
You know I love beef bourguignon.
Yes.
Would you say this is like a chicken version of that, since you're using Burgundy wine?
I don't know if it's exactly a chicken version, because
yeah, there's different ingredients.
there is different ingredients, but there's also a lot of similar ingredients too. So I think, the French, because wine is almost as accessible as water, maybe even more so in some areas. They're just used to using wine as a cooking liquid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up, and what we want to do is we want to just reduce this down a little bit.
You mean thicken it up, sort of?
Yes, we're gonna. It will. When you reduce liquids, you concentrate the flavor.
You let the water and steam escape.
Exactly. So we're going to reduce by evaporation, and we're going to let this go for a few minutes here, because it's just there's a little too much in there. We want to concentrate the flavors. Okay. Look at our mushrooms and our onions are done. So they're just sort of on deck here.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken is
resting.
It's going to hang out there. Now here's what I've got. I've got 3 tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of softened butter.
I know what's coming next.
You know what this is?
You're making a roux.
Well, we're going to, yes, we are. And we're going to combine the flour and the butter together. I'm going to use a fork to do that.
Oh, before you put it in the pan. Oh.
And then we're going to, this will sort of make a
mess. Aren't you supposed to use a bigger?
Well, I could have used a bigger plate, I guess. This is the first clean one I could put my hands on.
Okay.
But we're going to combine the butter and if the butter wasn't as soft, it's hot in here today.
Yeah.
If the butter wasn't as soft, it wouldn't maybe have made such a mess. But we're going to combine the butter and the flour together, and it will sort of make a paste.
Oh.
And we will add that to our liquid once that has reduced a little bit. Okay. So, Ralph, our liquid here has reduced by almost half. Okay. I've had it kind of bubbling here for a good 10 minutes or so. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take it off the heat momentarily.
Because it doesn't need to be super hot when you add the mashed potatoes.
It looks like mashed potatoes. We're adding the butter and flour mixture, beurre manié.
Oh, learning another Klingon word. I mean French.
So I'm going to put that in there, and we're going to whisk that in. Okay? And then I'm going to return it to the heat here once I get this whisked in,
blended,
smoothed out, and we're going to bring it up to a simmer to thicken the sauce. But this whisking is also, although there shouldn't be much of the little bits on the bottom of the pan, it's been cooking in the liquid for a while.
Right.
But this will help scrape
Make sure
anything
that
off, all that yummy stuff. Okay?
You can see
you can actually see how it's thickened.
Almost like creaming. It looks creamier.
Yeah.
And it's neat too because it looks almost like when you're dyeing Easter eggs, they can tell that the liquid has reduced because it's leaving like a white line of how high it was before and how much it's reduced.
So this is you want it to coat the back of a spoon or utensil.
Oh, that's
see how it's doing that?
That's a neat trick, yeah.
That'll tell us that it's kind of
ready
where it should be. Now I'm gonna move this back over
to the heat.
And I've got it on a low heat here. So I'm gonna I want it to just come up to start bubbling to a little simmer. And we're gonna cook that for a minute or so, because there is the raw flour that was combined with the butter.
And if I've learned anything, it's you don't want to eat raw flour.
No one wants to eat raw flour. And you want that flour taste to dissipate and cook off. So, okay, that looks pretty good. Now what we have to do is we're going to add our chicken back in to the sauce. I put a little piece of foil over the chicken just to, not that it would have gotten real cold, okay, but
or dried out, but you want to keep it moist, yeah.
Yeah, I want to keep it moist, and I didn't want it to get too cool. Okay, so now, yeah, here. You see it's starting to bubble?
Yes.
Yeah. So when it's bubbling like that, we're going to that's when it's going to really thicken even more a little bit. I just want to make sure we give it a little whisk. Cooking is always by taste, by sight, by smell,
I'd say
sometimes by sound.
I'd say it's half science, half art.
Yeah. That looks good. Okay. So now let's transfer our chicken back in here. And we basically, the dish is pretty much done, but we want the chicken to sort of re-warm through. And we're also going to add, remember those yummy mushrooms
and pearl onions
that we cooked, which are over here. We want to put those in as well. So we're going to add those. And
howdy, that's Pearl, Minnie Pearl. She was the country comedian.
Yep, Grand Ole Opry.
Boy, does that look good, though.
Does that look beautiful? Okay. That is so French, folks.
And kind of rustic, like a lot of good French cooking is kind of like, you could just see people, like you said, these ingredients are pretty readily available to most kitchens and farms or whatever back in the day. But yeah, you could just see kind of almost like just cooking this, living in a shack or a cabin in the woods.
Yep. So we're going to let that, I got it on low, we're just going to let that reheat. Let the sauce will sort of baste that chicken again, and it's done. We'll come back and give it a taste.
Oh, can't wait.
All right, Ralph.
Wow.
It is. It is. It is. It is.
It is presentation and eating time.
So this is the best way, I think, is to use, like, you could use a little bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of chicken on here.
Oh, and then scoop some of the good stuff in.
And then we're going to put some of these mushrooms and onions on the top, and of course that wonderful sauce. There it is, folks. Now, oh, so tender. Look at that. Just you do not need to put a knife at your place setting for this. So what I'm going to do is just cut a piece of this chicken in the sauce. Maybe grab a mushroom.
So take you back to Paris.
It has got such a savory,
deep
flavor. It's so good. I mean, and you're getting. I mean, you don't really get the wine is there, but it's savory. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't taste like a glass of wine.
But it's complex.
It's complex. It adds a real richness and a deepness to it. And then, of course, you have an onion, you have a mushroom. Oh, and you could just drink the
sauce, the
sauce.
the gravy. Would it be good with a glass of wine?
Yes, and a glass of. This is the same wine we cooked with, so it goes well.
Now, have you ever put Coq Au Vin over something? Could it be like put over noodles or rice or something?
You have the sauce. Yeah, I guess you could. I don't think you traditionally could. I don't think that's how it's traditionally served.
All right.
Probably with a lot of bread to
Yes.
sop up the juice. Anyways, we are going bon appetit, right? We are going to
In honor of
enjoy
Julia.
this. And thank you, Julia Child, wherever you are. This is a wonderful recipe. Thank you for introducing it to all of us, and we are so glad that you could be a part of this episode with us.
We love having you with us.
So, you know what, everybody? Stay strong, stay safe.
Stay healthy.
Here's to your good health.
Wash your hands and mask up, and we'll get through this together.
We absolutely will, and we'll see you next time right here on Cavalcade of Food. Bye, everybody.
Yum, yum, yum.